Is it true that the propellants for the missiles or rockets were seized?
I guess they're talking about the solid fuel propellants that the Chinese Communist Party provided to the Mullah remnant, well, the Mullah regime and regime remnants.
Probably.
So we destroyed a lot of that. That was actually one of the reasons, one of the key indicators of why we struck the Mullah regime in February 28th, right? Because like solid fuel ballistic missiles can be stored ready to go and they give you no warning time, which allows the Mullah regime to launch en masse against U.S. bases, our allies' bases, Israel and Gulf states, and that would have created a unacceptable escalatory spiral, which is why we had to do what we had to do. We are definitely striking those areas. I mean, that's one of the things that President Trump even mentioned today. Like we've obliterated even the things that they use to build stuff. That's one of the things we targeted. Albeit, can I say we got 100%? Do we get a large portion of it? Yeah, like no doubt about it. Some of those underground missile facilities, when we collapsed the tunnels and actually ignited some of the secondary stuff in there, actually the whole friggin' mountain burned from within, and you could actually see the increased thermal signature from space, which means all the IRGC douchebags there got turned into like it became their tomb essentially.
They're also saying, how do you get rid of the new stuff?
Well, there's a reason that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said in no uncertain terms that in the past couple of press briefings, we know who you are, we know where you're digging things out, we know where you're moving things. It's also one of the reasons why we said, well, we're thinking about targeting bridges and that kind of thing to sit there and stop the Mullah remnants, to move things around, to continue to try and like put together a couple of missiles just to keep being a bite in the ass. Ali kind of touched on this, like why we're looking to target those bridges. This is also the reason why the blockade is so important, because one of the main points of ingress for patron states of the Mullah regime or regime remnants is to try and, send things through the Strait of Hormuz and like put their like spoof different transponders and fly different flags and all this other stupid shit to provide the Mullah regime restricted dual purpose stuff, including things like, well, they're like essentially huge 27-foot tall mixers or the chemicals you need for solid fuel propellant or pick whatever. So that's kind of like some of the efforts we're doing. It's not 100% to be sure. I mean, nothing's 100%. Some of the land routes, maybe through some other areas I can't talk about. You have to maintain, I guess the answer would be you have to maintain a continuous eyes on the environment. And then when you identify, what is it, the bad guys trying to send stuff in, you destroy that when it's sent in, or you watch where it goes so you can then flesh out their networks and then hit that place. So you get both the people that were, transporting it and the people that were going to use it.
Next is Richard.
So I had a couple of questions basically related to the economic blockade situation. The first is just a general one. Do you attach any credibility to the regime's claims that their shadow fleets have been essentially making end runs around the blockade?
Well, wasn't that denied by CENTCOM? Because I heard it was
It
denied by
was.
CENTCOM. Okay,
It
so
was,
which means
but
there's
it
one.
wouldn't be unusual. Yeah, sorry.
Huh? No, you
Go,
go
no, go
ahead
ahead.
first.
I said if there was some mistake made, it wouldn't be extremely unusual for CENTCOM to issue a public denial of the claims, despite there being some credibility to them.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible, but if we have to basically go between what CENTCOM is saying and what the Islamic Republic is saying, I think it's more likely that CENTCOM is correct.
And of course, the regime has a strong incentive to lie about it, to basically, label the
Yes.
strategy as ineffective and turn the public against
Yeah.
the war. So take it with a huge grain of
Yeah,
salt.
you're right. That there's credibility and there's incentives. So credibility, the Islamic Republic has zero credibility, and CENTCOM has a lot of credibility. Incentives, the Islamic Republic is very motivated to suggest that they're not hurting, to save face, and CENTCOM
Yeah.
has no motivation to lie because they have their credibility to be concerned about. So there you go, right?
And absolutely. Historically, 100% of the time that the regime has an incentive to lie or has something to gain by lying, they will lie.
Right.
So this would
Yes.
be the only time that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
True.
The next question is just on the militias. So I know they're obviously deeply varied in terms of their effectiveness, the ones that have come in, the Iraqi ones being the most problematic. But do you think that there are any militias, possibly including Hashtashebi and the more problematic ones, that are really not as motivated economically, more motivated ideologically, and that they will stay even if they're not being paid?
I mean, so for example, if you look at the diehard regime supporters within Iran, right? You see, for years we have watched them say like they will die for Khamenei, they will do everything for Khamenei. There's so much propaganda. There's so much. You don't see that. I mean, in Iraq, I've seen them like put up banners of Khamenei, praising Khamenei, but like when it comes to propaganda wise, their loyalty is just by like. I mean, maybe it's my ignorance because I haven't been exposed to the propaganda inside Iraq as much as I've been to the propaganda inside Iran. But I'm pretty sure over the years, every time we see something pro Khamenei inside Iraq, it gets brought into Iranian social media as like, look at these retards. They're not even Iranians and they're celebrating Khamenei. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? At least they have occupied our land. But why are you like? Well, you're in Iraq. You're not even Iran. You can't even speak Persian, and you're celebrating Khamenei. Like you're a special kind of retard, right? Like when we say Pakistani Shia celebrating Khamenei or Afghanistan Shia groups celebrating Pakistan, celebrating, for example, Khamenei, like Iranian people who are anti-regime, they look at those videos, are like, okay, the Iranians who support Khamenei, they're retarded, but you're on a different level. Like Khamenei isn't even the leader in your country, and you're supporting him, right? So I know that we've seen the pro Khamenei propaganda from these other countries because we share them on our social media whenever it happens. And even though they exist, they're not at the same level of the propaganda pro Khamenei that has been created by pro regime Iranians for pro regime Iranians, right? And given that they
Yeah.
haven't been as exposed to it, I think that their loyalty is ideologically motivated, but it's conditional. I think it's mostly conditional by on getting paid. That's my suspicion. I might be wrong about this, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But when I talk about ideological sympathies outweighing economic ones, I'm primarily talking about ideological sympathies more for Islam than for the regime. The example being, of course, after Saddam fell in Iraq, the Islamic militias were a much larger problem, even after support for Saddam had basically eroded amongst the more secular community.
But you have to think that supporting the regime is supporting Islam for you to be ideologically motivated. So these people ideologically do support the Islamic Republic, right? But for you to continue to
Yeah.
do that, risking your lives, even if you're not getting paid, then you have to think that by supporting the Islamic Republic, you are supporting Islam, that they are the same thing. And you have to be a special kind of pro regime person to consider that to be the same thing, right? So, for example, in Iran, we see so many regime supporters who think that betraying the Islamic Republic is betraying Islam as a whole, right? And there's not that many people who think like that, even if they believe in Ali Khamenei, even if they believe in Shia Islam, even if they believe in the guardianship of the jurists. It's a spectrum, right? They don't think that the pro regime people, the ones who are really high level, like Durka, like they're on the other end of the Durka scale. They think that this is it. This is the IRGC is the army of the Mahdi. Like the whole point of Islam was to get to the end of times with the Mahdi, like all of it, the creation of the universe, the bringing of all the prophets, all the way from Adam, Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, all of the imams throughout history, and the bringing of the Islamic Republic. All of that, everything has been for the point, like every single atom in the world, every single breath that every single living being makes everywhere in the world is all for the point of the arrival of Mahdi, and for him to eventually take over the world, and the Islamic Republic is his army. The Iran is the base of his operations, and the IRGC is his army. So betraying the IRGC, betraying the supreme leader in Iran, is not just a crime against Islam, it's a crime against everything that exists. It's a crime against God's plan. It's basically going against, you're not just going against Islam, you're going against the fabric of the universe. You're going against God himself. You're going against the point of existence. Do you understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great, excellent explanation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right.